Okay. All right. So for those of you guys that don't know me, I'm Dr. Kathryn España. I am a pediatrician in Houston, Texas. And I did this presentation, or part of it, in our retreat in Destin. And I was going to do a presentation only on the water machine, yet I was asked to add all the patches as well. So this is going to be a quick overview of all the patches, but specifically that I'm going to talk about why. Why do we only talk about X39? So the first one that I'm going to start with is energy enhancer. Okay, why? Because this was the original patch that Dr. David Smith invented. This patch supports ATP, which essentially it's kind of like the battery to your cells. And it is used just to give you energy. It really makes you feel like you drank 8 cups of coffee, but without all the side effects. And it is very important that you know and that you tell people when they purchase this that it is actually two different patches. So a lot of people miss this and they open it and they only see the white ones. And then you don't realize that there's another little opening where all the tan ones are. So there's a white patch and a tan patch. The white one always goes on the right, and how I remember is white, right. They both have an I, and the tan always goes on the left. And there's a picture there of places that you can use them at. And it is recommended for, long days, for travel, if you're super tired, and a lot of high performing athletes use it as well, just to give them that boost of energy. Instead of drinking those horrible energy drinks that are not good for you or for your heart, you can actually use these patches and get the same feeling in 100% natural way. So my kids that play soccer use this all the time. Then we're going to talk about X49. So X49 here, I'm going to move you guys because it's trying to get this out of the way. Your pictures, there we go. X49 increases lean muscle mass, gives you more strength and endurance and cardiovascular health. It is kind of like the cousin of X39. It is called a performance patch, which is why when you buy them together, it's called a performance bundle, and it's always cheaper to buy them both together. It complements X39. Together, they enhance regeneration and physical performance and is recommended for active adult athletes, individuals that want a physical recovery, faster recovery. Usually it's recommended to be used in the exact same places as X39. So what I do is I use X39 in the back of my neck, X49 below my belly button, especially on days I'm going to be working out in the gym, and like honestly, it works wonders. Then we're going to talk about glutathione. Glutathione, it is the body's strongest antioxidant, the actual word glutathione. It's super, right now everybody's using it like in those IV centers. People want to inject glutathione. They usually give you a push after they give you like a cocktail of IVs. And normally they call that like the rejuvenation cocktail. And they talk about it as being like you know, um, the youthful cocktail or youthful substance. Really, it keeps your livers healthy. It's kind of like what takes all the junk out of your cells to keep them really clean and working really, really well. It also supports the immune system. And so it is amazing to keep your immune system strong. I recommend to use it at least 2 to 3 times a week for detox support and also just to keep your immune system elevated. Like I said, I'm a pediatrician. I used to get sick at least 3 to 4 really bad colds a year. And I've been using this for 2.5 years, and I've only gotten sick once, and I got better like in 2 or 3 days. So it really does help to keep your immune system elevated. I also use it when I feel like I'm getting sick, or like, this weekend that I'm getting on a plane, I always put it on to sort of like make sure that my immune system is as strong as possible. Carnosine is another antioxidant that we have in our body. It supports muscle recovery, cognitive function, and heart health. So I usually say anything brain, heart, and circulation related, you use carnosine. Dr. David Smith also, I heard him say once that every male, specifically over the age of 50, should use this on a daily basis to keep their heart as healthy as possible. Just because, male have a higher incidence of having cardiac problems. So ever since then, my husband uses this every night. You can use this day or night. He seems to think that it relaxes him at night. It actually absorbs lactic acid, so it does relax the muscles. Dr. David Schmidt said he uses it during the day, but this can be a day or night patch, just depending on what you like better. Obviously, to combine it with X39 for, optimal regeneration, and you don't have to use this every day. Again, my husband uses it every single night, but some people use this 3 times a week or so, just like glutathione, and still do well. Now we're going to talk about aloe vera. Aloe vera activates a specific peptide in a part of your brain that's called epithalamin. And that is what helps to support longevity. It helps maintain your cells' radiant, healthy skin. So I know that people, and this also comes with like a skincare regimen. So people think of aloe vera only for skin issues. But I have heard David talk several times that this is actually the second strongest patch that he has. It is very strong for longevity and for keeping your cells young. Some studies actually show that it keeps something called telomeres. So telomeres are kind of like the tail of your cells per se. And as we're getting older, they get shorter and shorter. And eventually when you like lose that tail, if you want to call it that way, then the cells are dead per se. So this keeps your telomeres younger, so it keeps your cells longer. It also increases melatonin levels, which is why it's recommended to use this at night. So it is a nighttime patch. Although every time that you hear, these are recommendations, but our bodies react differently. And I've heard all kinds of things in the last 2.5 years. For example, my aunt put on the aloe vera patch at night and she said she absolutely could not sleep. And so she uses it during the day and she says she does fine. So in general, most people use it at night, but for whatever reason, maybe for her it didn't work out. So you have to make sure that you're listening to your body and you're listening to your clients and following up with them to see what works best for them. For me, it's good for anybody looking for longevity as a great, in my opinion, nighttime routine. But again, if it doesn't work for you at night, then tell people to try it during the day. Ooh, I don't know what happened. It went all the way to the end. I'm so sorry. Let me go back. Okay. Next one is Ice Wave. So Ice Wave is one that people love because it gives you immediate relief. It's the only one that you can actually notice, or you should notice relief within minutes from pain. So this patch works differently, as you know that all patches work as phototherapy. I usually quote and I say it's wearable phototherapy, meaning you put it on and you leave it on for the rest of the day and the body does its work. This one is different. This one actually works with the polarity of your body. It's also a 2-patch system. And I can't tell you how many times people buy it. And if people, somebody doesn't explain to them how it works, they only put on the white patch and they're like, oh, it's not working. So we need to make sure that we tell people that it's a 2-patch system, that the white ones, just like Energy Enhancer, come in the regular little pocket, and then in front of that, there's another pocket where all the tan ones are. This one's a little complicated as far as like how you use it. So I recommend everybody to tell your upline, or watch a video online of how do you use it. There's 2 different ways. I'll do it quickly here. You can either use the left and right way, just like Energy Enhancer, and put the white one on the right, the tan one on the left. You can also put the tan one always in the spot where it hurts, and then put the white on the other side. So for example, if it hurts like back here in my left shoulder, I can put the white one on the other side of my body in the front. And then the other part that people like is you use like the clockwise routine, where like if it hurts right here, you always put the tan where it hurts, and then you put the white one on top and wait a few minutes and see if they feel better. If not, then you move it around. You put it on this side, you put it on this side, or you put it on this side. So you kind of go around to where the pain spot is until you find where it hurts the least. Again, watch a video. This one's a little tricky, but it definitely works wonders. Next is Eon. It's definitely one of my favorite patches after X39. It reduces inflammation and oxidative stress. So I say anybody that has inflammation, stress, or anxiety, which in my opinion, I think it's like 99% of the Earth's population. So this is the reason why I always, and we'll talk later about, why X39, but if there's any other patch, or actually the only patch that I talk about at the very beginning when someone's starting is Eon. So I tell everybody you can either start only with X39 or X39 and Eon if you want it to work faster. This balances your autonomic nervous system. What does that mean? It balances your nervous system. So there is two parts. You're either in a sympathetic way or parasympathetic way. Sympathetic is when you're like fight or flight, you're running away from a lion, you always hear that. Parasympathetic, sorry, is when you're relaxed, when your body's digesting, when you're sleeping. And this, what it does is that it brings you down to a parasympathetic state. So you are more relaxed and your body can work better. So what I say is if you decrease the inflammation, you decrease the stress, then the X39 can come in and fix whatever it needs to be fixed a lot faster. So that's the reason why I think it's the best combination to start off anybody. Literally, if you have an ingrown toenail or if you have a horrible chronic condition, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm always going to say X39 and Eon to start with. The next one is Silent Night. Silent Night supports melatonin production, so it helps to increase melatonin, but through the serotonin pathway, so through a different substance. Secondarily, melatonin increases. Very different. So aloe vera that we talked about before actually increases melatonin. This one increases it, but through a different way, so it's slower usually. It's recommended that it takes people sometimes at least 2 weeks for them to notice a difference for best results. It is a right-sided patch placement, meaning it's on the right side of your face, your neck, any of those areas there that I noticed. Is recommended obviously for people with sleep disturbances, but I particularly recommend for people to start first with Eon, X39 and Eon, because I've seen so many people that have issues sleeping. Once you decrease their stress level, you decrease their cortisol level with Eon, they're able to sleep better. And so they might not even need this one. But this is sort of a support one later. If absolutely they need it, then you can use it. SB6. SB6, I call it the endocrine patch, meaning it's for your entire endocrine system, meaning anything that has to do with hormones. So whether it's pancreas, like diabetes, whether it's thyroid, whether it's sex hormones, and I know people talk about this patch as the weight loss patch. Now, it's not like those injections that we use that causes you to lose weight and not be hungry. This causes people to not be hungry because once your hormones are balanced, then you don't have those peaks of insulin that makes you hungry, that makes you crave, especially sugar stuff. And so if your hormones are really balanced, you're not going to have those cravings. You're not going to eat as much. Your metabolism's working better. Secondarily, you're going to lose weight. So it is ideal addition for someone that says they want to lose weight or people that are having hormonal balance problems. Again, I always start with X39. This is one that maybe if someone tells you this is why I want it because I want to lose weight, or I'm having horrible menopause issues, you could start X39 and SB6 together. But a lot of times I wait at least a couple of months and I just do X39. And then later, if they need it, you can always add the SB6. Why does it keep going back to the end? I'm so sorry. All right. Now here we are. X39, this is the heart of LifeWave technology. LifeWave's been around for 22 years now, or 21 years, sorry, as you know, and all those other patches, starting with Energy Enhancer, and then one by one is what David invented until he got to X39. So the way that I explain X39 is kind of like a multivitamin. So in my opinion, X39 does what all the other patches do in a small level. So it's able to do what Silent Night does, what SB6 does, what Eon does, what it really does, what all of them do. And so in my opinion, is what everybody, and that's the reason why we only talk about X39 for two reasons. One, they might only need X39. And so if somebody, uses it and gets all the benefits, then why make it complicated with all the other ones? Number two, when you are talking about business, it is so much easier to explain to people that they only have to use one patch. You put it on and that's it. So that way they start using the technology, they feel better, and then eventually they might want to add on the support patches to sort of potentiate and make it work faster. But X39 is like that multivitamin that has calcium, potassium. I'm just saying, like a vitamin that has all the different things. And then maybe you might need a little bit extra calcium or a little bit extra iron or a little bit extra of whatever. And that's where all the other patches come in. So I do tell everybody X39 at least for the first month. I know I usually say the technology at least for 3 months. But if you use X39 for a month and you're so excited and you want to add something else to make it faster, sure, then you can add something else. The other reason is because X39 also increases your glutathione level, which does like a detox. So if you start someone on X39 and glutathione at the same time, for example, and they're going to detox, they might have a higher percentage of detox or worse headache or worse cramping or anything like that. And so people might say, I'm going to quit this technology because it's making me feel horrible. And so when you do X39, you're doing it slower, and then you might add the other ones. And so you're letting your body sort of get used to this as well. So little by little, people won't just quit if they're not feeling well, because we know that not everybody goes through a detox process, but some people do. As we know, it stimulates the production of copper peptide, GHKCU, which activates your stem cells, supports repair of damaged tissues, promotes collagen and elastin production, helps reduce inflammation. So essentially, it does, like I said, what all the other patches do in only one. So it really does work wonders. Jesus, my computer is going crazy. All right. Improvements, as you guys have heard in all the presentations that we do, reduces in chronic pain, accelerates wound healing, increases mental energy, physical energy, cognitive, mental clarity, helps with sleep. And so all of this has been shown in all of the many, many studies that have been done with X39. How do you use it? This is the one that goes, it's recommended to go behind your back or below your belly button, only because that's where the studies were done. And those are two very strong acupuncture points. But honestly, just like David says, this is a systemic technology. So anywhere you put the patch, it's going to work. That peptide is going to increase throughout your whole body. It's not only going to increase in the back of your neck or below your belly button. So throughout your whole body, you're going to be able to increase that peptide. And I also say, if you have a specific pain, let's say you have a pain on your shoulder or you have a problem in your knee, go ahead and put that where the problem is, and it kind of concentrates the treatment there, and then it's going to work everywhere else too. Okay? But when you do a clinical study, you have to do it a certain way, and everybody has to do it the exact same way to prove that it works. And where they did it was behind the neck and below the belly button. So if I don't have any major pain and I just want general wellness in my whole body, then yes, I usually wear it behind my neck or below my belly button. So here are popular combinations. I do not like protocols. There's a book out there that's like the 100 protocols of Life Wave. I think it's extremely confusing. It confuses people, it confuses distributors, but these are just sort of the most popular ones. If you want, regeneration and energy, people usually do X39, X49, and energy enhancer, like I said, for athletes or just to get that bush of energy. They also say that when you use energy enhancer, you're burning about 50 calories extra a day. Inflammation and stress, that in my opinion, that's like 99% of the world, X39 and Eon. Detox, if you want full detox, you use glutathione maybe for 3 days and carnosine in between, so you can alternate those. Chronic pain, obviously Ice Wave and X39. And there was someone that I've heard that if you have like fibromyalgia or pain kind of all over your body, you can actually put the ice waves at the bottom of your feet. Again, remember white on the right side, tan on the left side, and the X39 on your neck. And that actually helps with pain kind of all over your body. And then hormonal balance, X39 and XB6. So if you're looking for menopause issues or things like that, then X39 and SB6. So that is kind of the presentation that I did in Florida about all the patches, 20 minutes, very quick. So you don't have to know all the details of what this does. If you know just what's on these slides, very simple, you're going to do well, and your people don't need to know all the nuts and bolts because it gets really confusing. So in 20 minutes, I was able to talk to you guys about all of them. So you should be able to do it fairly quickly. Now, I want to talk to you guys about LifeWave X2O, and then I'm going to take some questions at the end, okay? I'm very excited. I've had this machine since, I don't know, October-ish or so, which is when some of us were able to get it. It is a new technology for cellular hydration. So just like the patches work at the cellular level, so does this. When you listen to David talk about this, it's like amazing. He's been working on this for years, essentially thinking about, we know that phototherapy and light therapy rejuvenate your cells. We just know that we've been proven that by many, many studies, not just LifeWave, but just in general. I truly believe that that is the future of medicine. My husband says that he thinks that, way down the line, we're going to have some little box that you're going to go in and like a laser or a light's going to like beam, and then that's it. You're cured from cancer or whatever it is, because that's kind of where we're going. What we've seen with light therapy, with lasers, it's been crazy. And this is where LifeWave is. So David wanted to see what if you were able to actually infuse light in water, because our body is made of water and all the information and everything that you have inside has to go through water. So the evolution of water and science and hydration, it's people are studying it more and more. It's been known that like the best water to drink is actually the water that like comes down from, say, like the falls. People, when it comes down the mountains, then it is actually absorbing all those minerals. And the water, the most important thing is that it's in motion. And it's been proven that a water that's in motion, it can actually infiltrate and it can hydrate your cells much quicker than water that's just sitting there. And so what happens, what do we drink every single day? It doesn't matter what an amazing filter you might have in your house, because I have an amazing filter best investment I ever made, that takes all the impurities. It actually injects a little bit of hydrogen, but that water is coming from a tank somewhere in the city, who knows where. So when water is just in a tank and it's just still, it loses some of its benefits. Then water that's rushing down and then it's moving, that cell just, that it works better. That H2O, it just works better to be able to hydrate you. So why are we so fixated and talking about hydration? Because it's not just about drinking water. Okay, it really depends on the water quality, which is why I have that filter in my entire house. It depends on how well your cells are absorbing it. Okay, electrolytes. If you don't have a good electrolyte imbalance, and this is why this was created to be used alongside Cellergize, which is a great product. If you don't have enough electrolytes, then the water is never going to go into your cells. The water, I mean, if you guys remember way back in science, you have these channels of sodium and potassium. And if you don't have enough of that, those channels are not going to open up. And you can drink 10 gallons of water and you still will not be hydrated. How well your mitochondria are working, how well your mitochondria have energy, which is the reason why we have X39 and products like that that are giving energy to your cells so they can go ahead and absorb water better. And how inflamed your body is. If your body is sick and it has a lot of inflammation, it's not going to hydrate well. So the body can receive all the water in the world, but you still can be dehydrated, believe it or not. And like I said, our body is created 60 to 70% with water. And that's how we transport our nutrients. That's how we make cellular energy. That's how we detox our body. So without good water and good hydration, our body just doesn't work as well. So, like I said, some people are still dehydrated. I know plenty of people that drink lots of water, or they say, and they still feel tired. They still have brain fog. They still have headaches. They still have all these things. And what are the reasons? It's because maybe they're drinking low quality, maybe they're super stressed and they have a lot of oxidative stress. They're not absorbing it correctly. So, it's not just about drinking water, but it's how your body can absorb it, and it's what water you're drinking. So here's where we come to our amazing machine X2O. It is a system designed to optimize water because it has, number one, an amazing filtration system, which I know many people like me also have a huge filter in their house that removes impurities and heavy metals. But this one actually also removes microplastics from the water, which many don't. So it actually has two different filters. It goes through one filter first that takes out all the impurities and stuff, and then it has a carbon filter that actually helps to get rid of the microplastics. It injects hydrogen into the water, and hydrogen helps it's a huge antioxidant, has an antioxidant effect. So it helps to really clean your body and has an anti-inflammatory support. But there's lots of water systems in the world that have some sort of hydrogen infusion. This is not the first one. But this is the first and only one in the market right now that actually has a light technology where it infuses 6 different light frequencies. Pretty, amazing. And we know that by the studies, that if you read them, and we have the studies all online, it says that 100% of the people that drank this, and I think the study had about close to 300 people, I think one of them. There's several of them. I think there's 5 that were published, and there's like 3 or 4 that are still ongoing. 100% of people had changes in their body, they say within 15 to 20 seconds. What are those changes? They were able to measure in their urine that there were some amino acids that were increased. They were able to look at heart variability and what the brain, they said that actually they were seeing that the brain sort of would light up by looking at EEGs, that they were connected. And so it is pretty remarkable that although you might not feel anything, something definitely is going on inside your body. So what are the potential benefits? It improves hydration, like I said, actual cellular hydration, because the body is going to be able to absorb it better. Because once you inject the light and with the hydrogen, it puts the body in motion, just like I said, of that water that's coming down from, let's say, a mountain. And so when the water is in motion, then it can actually penetrate the cells better. It improves circulation of your body, increases energy levels, better recovery in general, greater mental clarity, digestive support, and in general, just overall, well-being. You notice that the water is super light because it actually changes the density of the water. I've actually done some experiments when I put iodine, and for those of you that have the water machine, I ask you to do this. You can buy iodine and you can just put some drops in it and watch what happens with regular water and with X2O. With X2O, the iodine goes all the way down to the bottom immediately. With regular water, it just kind of sits there and sits there. And then once you add a little bit more of X2O, the iodine goes away completely. Like it's completely clear. I actually have a video. I will see if I can share it. I don't know if you'll be able to show it. That was pretty neat. So it has huge antioxidant properties to be able to kind of clean everything and detox your body. How do you use it? The machine is pretty big. I call it, it's like a double-size espresso machine. Really easy to use. You fill up the water reservoir. It takes 45 minutes for one cycle, and it dispenses 2 16-ounce glasses. So you put one glass, it dispenses 1. You put another one, it dispenses 2, and then you have to wait 45 minutes for the next 2 glasses. That's how long it takes to filtrate it, to inject the light, and everything like that. It is recommended And the studies that were done was with 1 glass a day, preferably early in the morning before you eat anything. And it's great to mix it with Celergize. You also notice that Celergize and anything else that you add in it. I drink it every morning with Celergize, and I also put creatine in it. And it actually dissolves everything so much faster than when I used to drink it with just my regular filtered water. So, and that's because the density of the water is different. And so it is definitely amazing to use as a daily part of your wellness routine. If you mix it with Celergize and X39, that's where most of the studies were done, then you see also obviously a better effect. So that is the end per se of this. I am here to answer any questions that you guys might have for the next few minutes or so. I'm trying to go back to gallery so I can see you guys. Great. Let's see if there's stuff on the chat. No, yes, it is being recorded. So anybody have any questions, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat. And if you have it in Spanish, you can tell me. Obviously, I speak Spanish too. Do I know when you'll be available in California? No, sorry, I have no idea. I know that they were working on that. I know there's a few states that is not available. I think it's sooner rather than later, but I don't know. That I don't know. Any other questions? I can't imagine you guys not having any questions because I always get a lot of questions on these kind of presentations. All right. We were that clear. Perfect. Well, that was quick. If you guys don't have any questions, this will be recorded. I gave Lola all of the slides. So you guys will have them and be able to kind of, look back at them. And again, oh, somebody does have a question. Angela.
Hi, Dr. Kathryn. I have a question. Can we, may you share the Excel presentation with each of the patches that you presented and the explanation that you were given?
You mean the slides?
Yes.
Yeah. Lola's gonna put them in all the chats. She already has them. So we
Oh,
will,
thank you. Thank
we
you so
will
much.
share the presentation in English, and then we'll also share the presentation. I have all the slides in Spanish as well. So
Oh,
she'll
thank
put
you
both
so
of it
much.
on there. Yeah, and you guys can use them to present them yourself or just to, have to look at. Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right, perfect. So again, don't feel bad about only offering X39 to begin with. I think that's what you need to do for two perspectives. Number one, because you make it easy for the customer, not only easy in their budget, because when you're first coming out with something, if you bombard them with 8 different patches, they're going to be like, whoa, how much do I have to spend to get better? So that's one, but also easy on people will do it if it's easy for them. If you give them 10 things to do, they might do it for a week and then they'll get tired of it. But is it very simple? They're going to be able to duplicate it and continue it. And then the other reason not to feel bad, it's because it works, period. It works. There's so many people that only use X39 and they're having amazing results. So we're not cutting anyone short on results. And then you can, talk to them about other things if they're fascinated with the technology, which is why it's always so important to follow up with your people. I can't stress that enough that there is so many times that people have reached out to me and said, hey, I bought this from so and so or someone online and I've never been able to talk to them again and I just don't know and I don't have a follow up. So it is so important. You'll have people that will stay with you forever if you just follow up with them and ask how you're doing, any questions. So always follow up with your people. Okay. And yes, they will put the recording on YouTube and the Wellness Revolution YouTube. And this recording will be there both in English and in Spanish. All right. Perfect. Well, you guys have a great evening. I am coming right back on in 20 minutes. I'm the one that's going to be doing the presentation tonight on X39 and the business. So, I'm giving you 20 minutes to invite more people to make sure that we have more people on that call. And if you guys need anything else, you know how to get a hold of me. So thank you so much for logging in tonight.